My name is Swami Shokananda.
Marcela Clavijo.
Bante Sudaso.
Michael Holleran.
My ordained name is Ngawang Samtendroma.
My name is Julia Suarez. I'm a Catholic nun.
I am a novice nun.
I am a Catholic priest.
I am a Buddhist monk ordained in the Theravada sect.
In the Tibetan Buddhist tradition.
I am a monk in the Hindu tradition.
My family was a very religious family.
So both my parents were Protestant Christians.
My parents were Jewish. They didn't teach me anything.
Very traditional.
My upbringing was Catholic.
I was raised by two Christian parents.
About religion, and usually she bring me to church every weekend.
I guess we'd call them atheists or agnostic.
Both of them took it very seriously. It was a very important part of their lives.
Suburban upbringing.
I grew up in Flushing, Queens.
I always felt called to a deep inner life.
Nothing but supportive of me since I became interested in studying Dharma. And then years later, after I decided to become ordained and I shared it with my family, they really were not surprised that I had decided to take this step. They were a little sad. I think they thought they were going to lose me, but they were at the same time very happy that I was pursuing something that they had seen that had become so important in my life and such a priority in my life, and I've always had their support and their love.
My childhood was very, very happy. I was very happy when I was a child.
I decided to become a monk because
I decided to become a priest because I felt called to it. I always had a religious disposition. I grew up religious.
Not an easy decision for me.
Truth is, I don't know all the forces that were impelling me to go in this direction.
I decided to become ordained because I was so inspired by the example of my teacher, Khenpo Pema Wangdak, when I realized how much a person can change their life and make a good impact in the life of others by having a spiritual focus in their life.
I decided to become a nun because as a young woman, I was looking for something. I don't know what exactly.
So in terms of the ripening of a vocation, let's realize, first of all, it's not a thing in your head. You don't get an idea, oh, I want to be a priest. Sometimes a kid would say that, oh, I think I want to be a priest. They don't say it so much anymore, but I want to be a priest, and then of course it's just, they maybe admire a priest, but it's in the gut, it's in the heart, it's in your whole body. You're raised in a tradition, it's something that ripens like a plant does from the soil. It's not in your head. So that's the first thing to realize. So you can't say, how long did it take? Well, how long did it take for the seed to grow into a plant, from those silent depths? But yes, I was 13 when I felt that I really did have a call.
Really, I don't know, because it started very slow, and it's not a decision in one day, in 1 week.
I was practicing meditation and studying the Buddhist teachings as a layperson, and recognized that if I really wanted to get the most benefit out of the practice, then I needed to commit myself to it completely.
The greatest challenge has been, and probably it's a challenge for many people who take the monastic life, is to both be authentic to your level of development, your level of consciousness, and also to keep aspiring to express your higher self. To see the forces that are causing you to resist moving forward toward the expression of your soul, and to deal with them without repression. Those are the challenges I think I face as a monk, I think most monks face.
The greatest challenge has been dealing with the reactions that I find in my mind when dealing with other members of the monastic community.
The greatest challenge has been myself.
Is not living in the community right now.
To do things that at the beginning you think you cannot do it.
The greatest pleasure has been finding my purpose and direction very early in my life, finding a teacher who can guide me in that direction, feeling that I have a useful, productive life.
The greatest pleasure in being ordained has been the whole entire experience, from changing the way that I look to changing some of my social behaviors and some of my internal behaviors.
Because it's not just some escape from the world for socially awkward people.
The greatest pleasure that I have being a nun is to help others and try to make them happy. Even though I have some challenges and the way of the road is not easy, but when I see the smiles on their faces, it makes me happy.
Actually, monastic life brings up an enormous sense of liberation, of boundlessness, and an enormous sense of non-dependence, which is incredibly relaxing. It's incredibly freeing.
I'm free. This is my way of freedom. It's true that I cannot go dancing, I cannot drink maybe, but it doesn't matter for me. I think my freedom is to choose this kind of life every day.
I probably would regret not having become ordained much earlier in my life.
I wish I had tuned into myself and earlier on, rather than trying to project a certain spiritual maturity that I hadn't earned yet. So maybe 15 years in the path, I was always trying to be something that I wasn't quite yet.
If you're going to be a spiritual leader, then you're going to have to do a lot of inner work. So it's taken many decades to get to the point where I think I actually have something to say that's worth hearing.
As a young woman, I was rebellious with my parents. I didn't want to do the things they ordered to me. And why I have to do this? Why I have to do that? And at the end, I didn't want to do that. And then I chose my own way. But so for some of them things, I regret. But I would like to value, if I could, more my parents.
I would say to someone who wanted to become a monk or a priest or religious that they should first of all get some psychological analysis to know where their desire comes from. Also, and more importantly, a spiritual director who would be able to see what the desire means. Is it a desire just to be of service? Is it a desire to get closer to God? Is it a desire actually to be specifically what you say you want to be? And that requires a considerable amount of spiritual direction and self-knowledge.
A way to be rebellious in a good manner.
Decision to become a monk is possibly the best decision I've made in my entire adult life.
There really is no difference between me and anybody else.
Just about anybody who decides to be a monastic and commits to it can be successful if they really try. Because the truth is that nobody has any firmly set personality traits. Nobody has any personality traits which are completely unchangeable. So even somebody who is angry, irritable, uncooperative, unkind, that can all be changed. That can all be different.
I would like to say that being a nun is a great experience.
You don't want to do this because you're running away from something. It should be really that your soul is being pulled in a certain direction.
That becoming ordained would probably be the best thing that you could do with your life.
Ultimately, it's all in God's hands.
The calling is for everybody.